Welcome to the Jan Podcast, Season 2, Episode 17. I'm your host, Jan. Hello. It's been a slow week. Nothing special's happened. Haven't been especially motivated to do anything great this week, so I don't know. It's kind of hanging in there. I was gonna start my peeve off with a traffic peeve, but I actually have a bigger peeve right now. I'm dealing with my due to the great big beautiful bill. I'm dealing with my student loan. They're forcing me to fucking pony up more, and they gave me the option of 100% more or 317%, and it looks like they've decided to make it 317% more than I was paying last time. So now I have to pay 317% more, which is near my rent. I nearly have to pay rent for my student loan now, and it's all still interest. I could pay this whole year and it would still just be interest. So this is a criminal institution. I'm telling you what. It's criminal. What they're doing is criminal. They won't work with you. They don't want to talk to you about it. They don't care. They don't care. It's really unfortunate. It puts me in a real bind. I'm not sure what the hell I'm going to do. I'm gonna have to call and tell them they're not gonna be able to do it. I mean, they'll have to garnish my wages. I don't, and even then, I'm not gonna have that kind of money to give to them. What do they think? A cost of living increase? Yeah, but look where we are right now. Everything's 10 times more. You're going to charge me 317% more than what I paid last month. So this month I pay this amount, and the next month I have to come up with rent. Right. Okay. Yeah, it's going to take 75% of it, and I will not have enough to pay my bills. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I was trying to make it work with what they were charging me before, but now they're really gonna just really stick it to me, and I guess that bill allows them to. Thanks, Trump. I'm gonna straight say it, fucker. Yeah. Anyways. On a funner note, I was listening to a podcast, and I guess it was a commercial. And I can't remember what podcast it was, truthfully, because I would like to rip on them for it right now because it was funny. It was my first male diaper ad that I was listening to. And the guys on there I don't know if it was just because I don't know. They were trying to be uber manly considering it's a diaper commercial. You know what I mean? It's an incontinence commercial basically. And they were just really they were trying to make it real manly to wear these diapers. And I'm just like, geez, man. And they go through like the whole set of stuff. There's this, there's that. And then I'm like, why are you acting like a 10-year-old? Okay. You're acting like a 10-year-old. It's like, oh, I'm a manly diaper wearer. No. Incontinence does not make you manly. And on top of that, the way they described it, they're like, you know, instead of like saying no more like stains on your pants or whatever, they say no more dribble drips. Yeah, they use dribble drips in a fucking adult men's incontinence commercial. Yeah. Incontinence commercial. Yeah. I was embarrassed for the company actually because it didn't sell the point. But don't try to make it seem like it's a manly thing to do because it's wearing a diaper is not a manly thing, I'm sure. Wearing any kind of pad to help you from soiling yourself is probably pretty embarrassing, I would imagine. And I'm not that far from it myself. If I sneeze hard enough, I'm in trouble. And anyone my age probably feels the same way. If I sneeze hard enough or if I cough hard enough, I better be near a toilet. I'll tell you what, I'm not that far away myself. It was just kind of funny though. They're trying to make the ad so manly, and then they use the word dribble drips. I'm like, you just completely destroyed your whole point. But yeah, I ate some pizza the other day. There's this place called Nazzaro's here nearby, and it's pretty good pizza. It reminds me of like the old school round table where they give you like 100% real goods. You're not using fake cheese or fucking processed meats and crap like that. But well, I guess they're kind of processed, aren't they? But yeah, when I was younger, you only had like maybe a handful of pizza places you could go to. I mean, the ones that we went to the most, we went to Round Table when we were really younger. Uh, and it just that's before they really started getting super expensive. But Round Table was always more expensive than anywhere else, and they always justified it by the real toppings and whatever. But their pizzas were very good, so I'm not gonna lie, they were good pizza. We'd go to Shakey's. I miss Shakey's because Shakey's Shakey's had a video, like, movies, you could watch Super 8 movies of, like, Laurel and Hardy and the Three Stooges and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. It was kind of fun. They had a lot of video games in there. And then they had Straw Hat. Yeah, Straw Hat had, like, they had, like, the, salad bar and stuff. But yeah, but even we had, like, cheaper ones that were like, you could get, like, 2 large pepperoni pizzas for $10. It was like Peter Piper pizza. Man, me and my friend would eat the shit out of those pizzas. I mean, you're 16, 17 years old, and you go buy 2 giant pizzas, and you smash that shit. When you're that young, you're smashing it. Now I'm, like, on my 2nd, 3rd piece, I'm like, "I'm so full. Whatever happened to young me?" But yeah, I always liked well, at the time the forerunner for having a pizza delivered was Domino's. Nobody was doing that before Domino's. Nobody was delivering shit to your house. So you could get Domino's back then, but it was like cardboard. It wasn't the same. It's not like Domino's now. Domino's out actually has some pretty good pizza. There's actually decent pizza at Domino's, and they have like a lot of deals where they give you like, other items that aren't pizza. So it's pretty cool. I think Domino's has redeemed themselves. But back then, Domino's, if you wanted something delivered to your house, you were gonna get a little less than you would if you went to, like, Straw Hat even, so but, you know, when you don't wanna drive, when you've been drinking and you wanna eat pizza, you don't cry about shit like that. You just order your pizza and eat, and that was the beauty of that. I mean, you didn't have to get up and leave your house to go get it, so that was always nice. But hang on, I forgot to do something here. Hello, right? Okay, so, there goes Chupa. Great. Neighborhood. There goes the neighborhood. I watched a movie the other day. I've seen it before, and I've always liked it. The first time I saw it, it was one of those where I had to watch it a second time. I was like, "What the fuck? There's so much going on in this movie." I was having a hard time following it. It's the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. Yeah, it's with what it was Christopher Plummer, Andrew Garfield. It was Heath Ledger's last film, and Terry Gilliam's directing it. It's an interesting movie. I don't know if anyone's ever seen it or not, but this Dr. Parnassus is an older man. Well, he says he's thousands of years old, but he made a deal with the devil when he was a monk thousands of years ago, and they've been wagering ever since. So he won, but he won mortality. So somehow the devil tricked him into betting again, and then he keeps losing. And then the devil keeps getting him to bet again to make up for the loss, and then he ends up losing again. So they're going through this cycle throughout the years, thousands of years. And Dr. Parnassus, eventually him and the devil have to have it out, and it involves Dr. Parnassus' daughter, and he has like this little traveling show that they do, and that's where Andrew Garfield comes in. He's like his little ring man, like he goes out and gets the people involved and gets them to watch and stuff. But it's interesting because in that movie, Heath died before the movie was finished. And he had scenes in there that needed to be recorded still. And they had what was it, Jude Law, Johnny Depp, and oh my gosh, who's the third one? Colin Farrell. They came in, stepped in, and took over, and it worked because when you're inside the Imaginarium, things are different, faces are different, places are different. So it actually worked that Heath could be any one of those characters, and they're good enough actors where they pulled it off. And they donated all their money to his daughter. So that was kind of cool. That was pretty classy. But yeah, it's an interesting film. And like I said, you may need to watch it a couple of times to catch everything or to understand 100%, or you may get it the first time. I don't know. It was interesting. It was interesting. Vern Trover, how you say his, I'm not sure how to say his last name. Vern Trover? Mini Me? Yeah, he's in it as well. He's pretty good. But yeah, that's an interesting movie. I liked it the first time I saw it. I liked it, but it's just a strange flick. It does, it's all about greed. It's all about greed and consequence, and that is the world we live in right now. Greed and consequence. There needs to be a little more consequence to add to all the greed that's going around right now. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I was you ever like open your closet door and shit falls out everywhere and you're like, "Damn, I need to clean this closet out." Yeah, I did that last week. I was like, "Shit." I opened the door and everything came crashing down. I was like, "Ah, fuck." And I realized that I had I think it was Christmas wrapping paper that I just thrown up at the top of the closet where I keep like all my board games, and it had slid down and somehow it just caused like a cascade of shit falling down on me. So I was trying to pick it up and put it away, and I realized I have like an Ouija board, I have like a Scrabble board, I have the Game of Life, I have oh my gosh, I have like 4 or 5 others, and I haven't played those games in like 10 years or more. I'm like, why do I have these fucking games up here? Why are they just sitting in my closet? What do I need them for? I might just fucking get rid of them, except for the Ouija board. I'll keep that because you never know. You never know when you need to reach Captain Howdy. You better get that reference. If you're Gen X, you better fucking get that reference. But yeah. Yeah, I hadn't that whole closet, I avoid it like the plague because it's one of those closets where you add something and then you just walk away. And then you add something and you kind of walk away and you're like, fuck, it's full now. Now I need to get rid of everything that's in there. So that's my next project. But I'll tackle that when I start feeling a little more able to. I'm feeling a little better. I mean, I think I have a diagnosis with what's wrong with me, right? So I made an appointment and we'll find out. But I got some pain meds in between so that I'm not freaking dying, and they are helping a little bit. So they're taking the edge off so that I'm not just so hyper focused on the utter pain that I'm in all over my body. I don't recommend menopause. Yeah, I don't recommend it. And if you have a talk with your body about it, make sure you specifically say you don't want this. Make sure you do that. I would take hot flashes and shit over this any day. But yeah. But yeah, that's a closet that needs to get cleaned out for sure. For sure. I have like 1,001 medicines in there, and you end up with like cleaners, and you're like, oh crap. And then you look at it and it's so overwhelming. You're like, I'll get to that later. Yeah, you never. You end up with like 2 or 3 more closets that are full because you never did finish cleaning the first one. Well, that's just a bad habit on my end, I guess. I was gonna end this one on talking about my dad and when I was younger too. My dad was a firefighter, so engineer specifically, but when we were younger, there were only so many fire department stations. There was only so many. As a matter of fact, there was only like 3. Okay, so they were building Station 4 back when they were building like the freaking overpass there. And when they did build that, my dad went there. So we were pretty young still. Even when we went there, we were still grade school age. So we go to visit him and stuff. And Station 4 was going to be the big site where they were going to build like the training ground behind it and stuff, which they did and have like the academy and all that over there. So it's pretty cool. It turned out pretty neat. But my dad was one of the early ones in there. And we would go wherever he would always go to a different station. They would move him, like he was at Station 1, which was downtown. And that's like the bigger one where they have like the pole you can slide down, and they had 2 levels. It was really old. It was across from the old police station. So that one was you take care of course, all downtown and all that kind of crap. And then they came out. Station 2 was on the west side, and that was a lot smaller. There was one truck, 1 engineer, 1 lieutenant, and 1 firefighter, and that was pretty much what you had. And then Station 3, if I was remembering correctly, Station 3 was on like I don't know, maybe kind of the east side. So, and they were all kind of spaced out a little bit there, but when they built 4, it was more middle, not downtown, but like central. At school, I don't know if you guys remember field trips or not, but we went on a lot of field trips at my school. I don't know if that was a normal thing or what, but we were always going on field trips, anything that we could go to do to learn or whatever. But because my dad was a firefighter, we would always take a field trip to the fire department. He would always do that for me so that I could show off and stuff. He'd let us climb all over the trucks and stuff. And I mean, you could stand by the tires and you barely got to the rim of the tire, much less to the top of the tire. That's how big those trucks were. It was pretty cool. And I think every time he went to a different station, I got to have another field trip. So I went at least once a year, maybe every other year. We'd go do a field trip at the fire department. So it was pretty cool. So all the kids got to, see the fire trucks and talk to the firefighters, and we all got like little fire badges and crap. So I mean, it was pretty fun. It was like a bragging point. It was always fun. But as we got older, we moved to our second house, and that was out in the boonies, the west boonies. And they had two volunteer fire stations out there, and I got to do volunteer at one of them. So I started volunteering when I was like, well, actually, you would say before I was a volunteer, I was a explorer. I was in the Boy Scouts of America because I had to be, because that was the program that put you into the training for the fire department. Kind of like a trainee, basically. You're underage trainee, basically. And you would learn firefighting and all about the trucks and the water pumps and tactical moves for putting fires out. And then by the time you were old enough, you could actually, they'll put a hose in your hand and let you go out and put out fires. I bet I could barely be 14, and I was already my first, they let me go out to a grass fire. Well, they didn't let me go out. I met them out there. I went out to the grass fire, and I jumped out and put my turnouts on and ran out into the field. And back then, our station, if you didn't have a hydrant to hook up to, you had to draft from a tanker. And we had that because I mean we were rural. Okay, there's like farms and shit, so we're drafting from canal banks. All right, that's where we draft from. We draft the water from canal banks and take it to the fire. So that's what they were doing. They were drafting water down by the river. And this fire was pretty close to the river. So they're rafting by the river and they're handling the fire towards the down part of the river. But there was like a handful of us that had to have shovels, and we were up there just, trying to put the fire out manually, get ahead of it or whatever. So we're up there trying to tackle it, and I'm working and I'm sweating. It was hot as fuck that day. And I remember someone brought me a hose and went, "Go ahead, kid." And I went, "Okay." And I grabbed the hose and walked off, and mom snapped a picture of me, and I took off and I went down there and used the hose for the first time and realized that even a 4-inch hose can give you a pretty big lift off the ground. And I wasn't a light kid. I wasn't light. I'm like 150. I wasn't light. No, I was probably 140, but still, that should be enough. But yeah, so I got to put out my first fire, and they let me do that because they had some respect for me grabbing a shovel and going out and digging and doing the work. And that's me. I do the work. That's what I do. I know it sounds silly, but that's just, I don't know any other way. I just go and I do the work. I don't have a choice. That's what I tell myself. You have no options. Go do the work. Damn it. Yeah, I'm not that person that can talk myself out of doing that. I can't do that. I wish I could. I truly wish I could. I wish I could just go, fuck it, I don't care. But I do. I do care. There was let's see. There was one time that me and my dad actually, because he was a volunteer there too, obviously. There was one time that we actually got to go put out the same house fire. That was pretty cool. We were tackling the fire. I was hitting it from a window, and dad was at the truck. And I remember that day in particular because I had blown my knee out. Well, I didn't blow my knee out. I tore my cartilage, and I had had surgery. And I was out there fighting a fire with a fucking, just had surgery on my knee, like, I don't know, fucking a week or two before. I'm out there fucking fighting fires. Yeah. But that's, 14, 15. No, I'm older than that. When I blew my knee, I was like 19. That was towards the end of my firefighting experience. I was there 9 years, so I was there a while. But yeah, that was towards the end. But yeah, so I mean, it was fun, and doing stuff with my dad like that was pretty neat. I don't know how many people can say they did that. And I like being a trendsetter. So I was a girl that was a firefighter at a volunteer station, and I'm not sure there was a girl before me. I know there's been girls since, but I'm not sure there was a girl there before me. So I like this. I like to set those trends, baby. I like to play with the boys and win. But yeah, being a firefighter was fun. But as soon as I blew my knee out, that was the end of that. We weren't going to be a firefighter anymore. If I can't pass those physicals, I'm not gonna be a firefighter. And I wasn't, and here I am. I probably could have been an arson investigator. I was decent at that. But life has funny ways of throwing you curveballs, doesn't it? I've lost my chupa. Oh no. Now I'm scared. I'm almost happier when I see her being annoying. At least I know she's there. All right, well that's about it. I didn't really have much interesting to talk about. Just a little bit about me and stuff. But yeah, that movie's pretty good. Check it out if you like Christopher Plummer or Andrew Garfield or even Heath Ledger. It's pretty good movie. Interesting. Pray for me for my student loan because I'm going to try to fight it, see what I can do. We'll see what my options are because I don't like it so far. I can't pay that much money. I can't pay rent twice. That's bullshit. I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't be put in that position where they're going to box me out of being able to pay 4 of my bills. I mean, how can they legally do that? I don't know. It's a scam, people. I'm telling you. Alrighty. There's my chupa. Okay, that's my cue. All right. Remember to spay and neuter, adopt, don't shop. There's a chupa looking for you too somewhere. All right. Well, I will talk to you guys next week. And until then, try to be a good person and don't lose faith. Okay. Things always get better and they're gonna. All right. Talk to you later. Bye. Meh.